Yeah, I can still hear it.
Okay, so basically, what this is this Bob Lazar guy. I'm gonna leave a lot of this to I'm gonna let the documentary tell you about him. But basically, this guy worked in this facility called S4 that was like 15 miles from Area 51, and he was a scientist that was supposed to reverse engineer parts of a spacecraft uh, that America got. Like he said there's 9 of them that he saw. And like this guy's
Mhm.
just it's cool because he doesn't sound crazy. And like
Yeah.
um I watched or I didn't watch. I listened to or part of Joe Rogan's podcast or interview with Bob Lazar, and really fascinating the kind of stuff they talked about. So I just thought it was interesting, and I figured I'd share it with you and record it
It's
anyway.
extraordinary, especially if it's true. And it all started in the desert, just north of Las Vegas.
A local scientist who worked at Groom Lake
said to be where top-secret weapons systems have been tested over the years.
he has asked that his identity be shielded.
Exactly what's going on up there?
What's going on up there could be the most important event in history. Physical contact and proof from another system, another planet, another intelligence.
What would happen to you if the government learned that you were giving us this information?
He just wanted to stay alive.
Maybe this has been kept from us for a good reason.
Sir, how do we know you are who you say you are?
My name's Bob Lazar. I'm known for working at a classified base and reverse engineered alien spacecraft.
It went all over the world. You put Area 51 on the map.
Can we ever be made whole if we're not believed?
We can't verify what was going on in his background.
So I'm going to stop this real quick. This guy also invented the pulse jet engine. So have you ever seen the video of these guys who have like these metal U-shaped pipes, and they set it on fire and it basically just cycles itself?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah, this guy invented that. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
I have no motivation to lie.
The science and the technology can change us.
We've always looked to the skies for answers, instead of looking into ourselves.
This guy's story is pretty fucking crazy because of the fact that he's such a like hidden
Area 51,
person.
secret
Like
of
he wasn't
spots on
supposed
the
to talk
planet,
about
is
it.
located on the northeast edge
Yeah.
of the Nevada test site and is said to be where numerous top-secret weapons systems have been tested over the years. According to some UFO researchers, it's also where the government is test flying alien spacecraft. It sounds pretty far out, but some Las Vegas residents report having seen these flying saucers.
A local scientist who says he worked at Groom Lake and saw the saucers joins us in tonight's interview. He has asked that his identity be shielded. Sir, how do we know you are who you say you are and that you actually have knowledge about what's going on at Groom Lake?
Well, I guess there's no way you could really know. There's really no way I could prove it without revealing my identity and getting myself into more trouble than I have already.
Exactly what's going on up there?
Well, there's several, actually 9 flying saucers, flying discs that are out there of extraterrestrial origin, and they're being test flown and basically just analyzed.
You say there.
So I was gonna pause because something that everybody like. There's a lot of people who are like, "Man, this guy's crazy. He's lying. He's getting clout." But
Yeah.
what's really crazy is how consistent his story is, which makes it really believable. Now, it's I mean, like some things vary, and when you start trying to ask him details, he says stuff like, "Well, it's so long ago, I don't really remember." And so I'm like, "Really? Like I feel like something this crazy you'd remember." But I also take into consideration the fact that this dude has been pounded for the last 30 years about this occurring, about this whole ordeal, and the fact
Well-
that, like, it's so overwhelming to think about if it, if he
Yeah.
did see what he did.
It could be his way of saying I can't talk about that.
Right.
Like, in my personal opinion, it
Well-
could literally be him saying I can't say that.
Right. Well, and like right now he's open to talking about it. I mean, everything that he's talked about is already, all over the place. So
Yeah.
what I mean by that is, like, they'll ask him, because on Joe Rogan, here's a perfect example. The Joe Rogan Experience podcast that I was listening to, he asked him, so did you see the flying saucers first before you signed all the paperwork? Because he was talking about how in the paperwork they had, like, it talked about how they were coming from these ships came from this star field. And, he was asking him if he saw the spaceships before or after, because, and he said, well, I don't really remember. And it's like, that seems like something really easy to remember, the order of which but he quickly answered again. But it just, that's what makes people skeptical, because, like, his story is so solid, but there's a few times where it seems kind of like foggy,
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll keep it going.
There's 9 saucers. How are those tests going?
As far as what?
As far as whether they're successful and that sort of thing.
Oh, well, some of them are 100% intact and operate perfectly. The other ones are being taken apart. I was involved mainly in propulsion and the power source.
Where did we get these saucers? How did they come into the hands of the government?
I haven't the slightest idea, and you have to understand the information is very compartmentalized, and I was only allowed information that pertained particularly to what I was involved in.
But I mean,
So, and that's another reason why people don't like it, is because it's like, obviously, if you did work there, they would probably try to give you as less, the least amount of information as possible.
Yeah.
But it kind of sucks that, all he really knows is what he was dealing with. But with the propulsion thing, he may get into it a little bit, but I'm going to, like, brush on it briefly. It was basically some sort of gravity reactor that created, like, it bent gravity around it in a way that you couldn't, like, touch it. Like, if you were to try to reach out and touch it, he said he tried, and it, like, pushed his hand back, like you were trying to push magnets together.
Oh, weird.
Right? It's fucking crazy. But anyway, I'm sure he'll talk about it.
I mean, couldn't our government have made them as opposed to getting them from some alien beings?
Totally impossible. The propulsion system is a gravity propulsion system. The power source is an antimatter reactor. This technology does not exist at all. In fact, one of the reasons that I'm going forward with this information, it's not only a crime against the American people, it's a crime against the scientific community, which I've been part of for some time. We're actively trying to duplicate these systems, yet they are in existence now and basically in the hands of the government.
What would happen to you if the government learned that you were giving us this information?
Anything could happen. I don't know. I haven't the slightest idea.
Well, you said you were referred to getting into trouble. Have you had some repercussions already?
Yeah, I've been threatened with being charged with espionage. I've had my life threatened by them, my wife's life threatened by them, and I mean, I don't know where else you can go from there.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us. Pretty interesting stuff you've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, more news in just a moment.
Now, first we go to Dan Rather in Beijing for a look ahead at the CBS Evening News.
CBS Evening News from China. We'll have extensive coverage of Mikhail Gorbachev.
The live interview with the shadowy dentist drew international attention. Portions were broadcast by radio in 6 European countries and in a nationally televised TV special in Japan. Despite numerous inquiries and feelers, Dennis has remained anonymous until now. His real name is Robert Lazar. He says he was hired to work at an area called S4, which is a few miles south of Groom Lake. At S4, he says, are flying saucers, antimatter reactors, and other working examples of technology that is seemingly beyond human capabilities.
Gord Knapp, Eyewitness News 8.
Good evening, everyone. You're in the right place at the right time, blasting out of the Mojave Desert like a Scirocco, blazing across the land, into your town, into your home, slamming into your radio like a supercharged nanoparticle of unobtainium.
What the fuck is this guy talking about?
I don't know.
You're in the right place at the right time. It's gonna come at you full speed, just nail you right in the fucking head, right through the bedroom window.
It.
Like the video of Kermit getting like fucking nailed by a baseball.
Greetings to all of you from the boldest, bawdiest, most outrageous city in the world, planetary capital of sun, fun, sin, sex, and secrets, my not-so-humble hometown, Las
The
Vegas.
6 S's.
Las Vegas is kind of a crazy place, but I'd say that St. Louis is crazier.
Probably.
You know, there are a lot of people, myself included, who would like to focus on big picture stuff. Who are these visitors? Why are they here? What is the nature of reality? What is their interest?
Why does he sound like the fucking why does he sound like the guy from the start of the new FNAF VR game?
I don't know, but I totally understand.
In us, where do they come from?
That's funny as hell. I didn't even realize. And like, who the fuck? This guy's so rich. He has an indoor pool that looks like a hotel room. Look at that, dude.
Yeah, that is insane.
So those are the
Like, this guy's so fucking rich. He has his own hotel swimming pool.
And yet he goes on TV and makes that face.
Yeah, really.
questions that people have been asking about the UFO mystery since the beginning. We're no closer to answering any of them, but Bob got pretty close. Bob got to read these briefing documents that provided those kind of answers.
Okay, so these briefing documents are the one that I'm talking about, where it talks about like these, like, it's so weird. I can't remember exactly what it was, and they may go into it, but it was like a bunch of weird names. But in the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, they were talking about how sometimes they do that in briefing documents. They'll put like these random out of pocket like terms and shit. So like if you go blab to your buddy and it like gets leaked, quote unquote, or whatever, and you talk about like this weird terminology on like a TV show or, you know, on something like that, then they can track, they know who's blabbing because they gave you that information. So some of the stuff may not even be real. It may just be a decoy for them to know who's blabbing.
Yeah.
The thing is, when we were covering his story, so much of the effort was in proving that he really was the person he said he was. Is it true? Is it plausible? That really, that was the focus, more than the really important stuff. You have to cover the story of Bob Lazar, and the only way to do that is to talk to Bob. And I don't know if he'll talk to you or not, but you need to try. It's all going to be circumstance for you, is the moment that you approach him, the mood that he's in, what else is going on in his life at the time. You might hit the jackpot and get him at exactly the right time, and the universe is aligned, and he's willing to talk about it. But you'd have to be awfully lucky, because in general, Bob doesn't like to talk about it. I think he's very happy in his life. He's happy to have left the UFO stuff behind. He misses his friends. He misses John Lear. He misses Gene Huff, maybe even me to some extent. But he doesn't miss the UFO topic, and he doesn't miss talking about it, because ultimately it's disturbing. These are disturbing issues. They go to the heart of who we are as people, as human beings, the nature of reality itself. Is this a computer simulation? Are we all the product of an alien video game?